if you're bullish, right, you can see that we formed this slightly bull flag. We've actually broken out of it, retested that scene of the crime. So, from a bullish perspective, you would expect this thing to go up, and then your next really heavy resistance would be back at those all-time highs, the 75-ish dollar level.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of WagmiTV. We have a really fun one for you today. Of course, we're covering the launch of Trump Coin and what went down there and what to look for now in the charts and a little bit of the backstory as well. One of the craziest launches probably in crypto history, one of the fastest tokens to 10 billion, maybe the fastest token to 10 billion in market cap, and just a crazy order book, so much liquidity, and a lot of people made a lot of money off this. So we're going to kind of dive into that. Obviously, this is not financial advice, but we're going to start with the charts. I'm going to kick it over to Mata, and then we'll kind of go through a couple other things, but hand it over to you.
Sweet. Yeah, let's dig into it. So definitely a crazy one. That's for sure. I know Solana got really congested. People weren't able to buy it. There was a lot going on, right? But this thing went absolutely nuts. We're on the hourly chart because it's honestly such a new token. But from the bottom to the top, you're seeing 90,000%, which is absolutely insane. Really in just a matter of like a day and a half, which is crazy. Obviously, we've seen quite the drawdown since then. We've seen listings on Robinhood, Coinbase, everywhere essentially has listed this thing. And really that kind of felt like the sell the news event, right? So we really saw this thing fall off a cliff on the 19th. Really just in this hour, we went down 40%. Really hit a double top here. But what we are potentially doing, if you're bullish on this, right, as you can see, as we've moved down in price, that the volumes actually moved down quite significantly. Typically a bullish sign. You could also make the case that this is a bull flag that is forming right here as it's coming down, right in between these blue trend lines here. You could say it's kind of something similar to what we saw back here on the 18th, right? You kind of have this bull flag that is forming off of the initial pull right there. So if you're bullish, right, you can see that we formed this slightly bull flag. We've actually broken out of it, retested that scene of the crime. So from a bullish perspective, you would expect this thing to go up, and then your next really heavy resistance would be back at those all-time highs, the 75-ish dollar level. You'd be looking at that as the next big, at least major resistance for Trump coin if you are bullish on it. On the other side of things, right, because we always have to look at both sides and the probabilities of all this happening, something to consider is this is going to be a very news-based event. I know everyone was expecting a Bitcoin reserve and all these other sorts of crypto-oriented executive orders and things like that. We obviously haven't heard anything like that, at least quite yet. So what you could also make the case of is that this was actually quite a big move up, a double top and blow off top. We saw a little bit of a bear flag here for more downward continuation, and now we're seeing another bear flag here for more downward continuation. So couple things to look at, right? Two different kind of sides to that coin. I think if you were going to purchase this from a trading perspective, you definitely would want to be setting some stop losses, probably around those similar lines that we had drawn before, right? Something around here, right? That $30 level. If it starts to go below that, you can kind of be pretty confident that it's going to continue to go lower here. But definitely use risk management. Be very, very careful if you're trading something like this. But any thoughts on the coin itself or any thoughts from the team here?
Yeah, I mean, it is truly it was an unprecedented weekend with the new president. It was insane. Like, I've never seen anything like it. We had the president of the United States launch his own meme coin. People didn't even know if it was real for a little bit, right? Like, people thought he got hacked. And honestly,
I mean, I was one of them. I didn't know it was real.
Yeah, rightfully so, because it's just like so ridiculously out of bounds. I mean, it just makes you think, like, what's the next kind of 4 years going to look like with crypto if this is like, day one basically, or day zero. He wasn't even technically in office when he launched it, and so it is just like, it's wild. I mean, it's obviously I don't know what's necessarily going to happen. One thing to be cognizant of is Donald Trump does actually own 80% of the supply of this token. And so over the, this is obviously, like Armada said, a brand new token. And so over the coming weeks, months, and years, it's going to be interesting to see kind of what that unlock schedule looks like, what he ends up doing if he actually does try to get this token integrated within the DeFi ecosystems and stuff that we cover on this channel a lot, or if it's purely just like a, you know, basically pump and dump rug style token. So there's a lot to be, answered here. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely wild. Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, talking about the emissions and unlock schedule, let's dive into that. So, what we're seeing right away is within the first 3 months, it's just the liquidity and the circulating supply to the general public that's going to be out, which is where we're at right now. But you can see that within, 3 months to even 12 months, you're getting close to the CIC Digital group, which is the founders of this coin that Trump has like a huge ownership in. They're going to be owning about 50% of the unlock supply. So it's something where I think we could see a lot of, movement in the first 3 months, but like a lot of the other tokens we've talked about that have extremely aggressive emission schedules, you could see this slowly start to bleed in price just because of the amount that's circulating. But yeah, just wanted to bring that up because you were talking about the emission schedule that it's got.
That's awesome.
100%.
Love it. Yeah, I think the other thing that I've seen kind of going around is like this obviously draws into question like what's Trump's obviously Trump is pro crypto in a certain sense, but it's also like, okay, what's his foundational understanding of it, right? Is he gonna use it as like a, kind of just like a weapon to get more wealthy, or does he actually believe in it? Like what is that kind of so I think it also drew into question of like, okay, what is the plan for the strategic reserve and the way that he used it here, like is drawing different opinions from both sides. So like it'll be interesting to see, to Zoe's point, is this like day zero or what does that actually look like? So I think it'll be fun to see how that actually plays out. Um,
Yeah, I guess one interesting perspective on it because I think there's two different perspectives. There's the people in the crypto space who are excited about it, and there's the people in the crypto space that are like, "Why would you ever do this? This is so stupid. You're taking away from Bitcoin and the reserve, things like that." With him owning about 80% of this, right? So that was what it looked like. I mean, it's really the first time ever where you have a financial instrument that directly ties or reflects presidential performance, right? So every win or loss, every decision that's made, it's immediately priced into this market, especially with how quickly something like this moves, which I think generally creates like a very unprecedented feedback loop. So at the end of the day, it depends to see his point. How much is he actually looking at this, right? Does he actually know what's going on? Does he actually care that much about it? Because if that's the case, and it really is that feedback loop for him, the bigger picture is that the meme coin's not just a token; it's just a really powerful marketing campaign for what this looks like in his presidency, marketing campaign for crypto. Every piece of a headline, every swing in the price, like drives more attention towards digital assets as a whole. So it is an interesting thing to consider as we kind of start to dig into this a little bit more. Obviously, it's in its infancy, only a couple of days old, so it'll be interesting to see how things pan out with him putting his brand on the line for it and holding 80%. I don't necessarily see it being a massive pump and dump, but I guess you never know, right? So be careful out there.
Yeah, and to Mata's point, like let us know which side you're on. There's two sides of the perspective here. Is this good or bad? Let us know in the comments what you think. Like this is I think for a lot of people it's definitely a kind of defining moment, especially him being the first president to do something like this, and arguably the most pro crypto presidency leading up to it in his campaign. So it'll be really interesting to see. We'll keep covering it, but let us know what you think in the comments and like, comment, subscribe if you guys found this helpful. Again, not financial advice. But would love to hear from you guys. And yeah, until next week, WagMe.